Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we have the final of the newest round of Hammond Collection figures, outside of the humans of course. I don't normally review the humans too often. I will sometimes from time to time, but I'm more focused usually on the dinosaurs. So there are of course some humans, but as far as the dinosaurs go, and without the Brachiosaurus, which hasn't even been revealed yet, this is the last dinosaur from the Hammond Collection that we have coming out right now. And we have, obviously, the young Stegosaurus. You can see we again have the Jurassic Park 30th Anniversary logo up there, kind of hiding. But you can also see again the Hammond Collection logo and again the species name right there. And then, of course, the window area there to take a look at our Stego. Pretty cool to see that we had, the young Rex and the young Stegosaurus kind of come out at the same time. But here on the side, you have a really nice shot of our Stegosaurus with the Lost World Jurassic Park logo right there. And then here on the back, a shot of the Stegosaurus again, showing it off, and then a shot of it here in the film, as well as some information, and the Lost World Jurassic Park logo again up there. Also cool that both of these smaller releases were Lost World Jurassic Park figures. That's pretty darn cool as well. And then, of course, the Hammond Collection logo over here on the side. So, let's pop the box open and check it out. And here is our baby Stegosaurus, and that is actually so much nicer than I was expecting it to be. Initially, I was kind of thinking this was going to be maybe the weak link of the Hammond Collection overall, but having it here, it's actually a lot nicer than I thought. The sculpt is quite beautiful. The paint job is also quite beautiful. Very nice paint apps on this one. And as a whole, one thing right away that I'm noticing is how good the eyes look, and they really shine very realistically. Now, one thing that a lot of people, myself included, were a little bit upset about is the fact that we didn't really have, the cheeks on the Stegosaurus like you see on the film, but I don't think it looks too bad this way. It looks pretty reminiscent of the Stegosaurus from the Lost World Jurassic Park, and definitely, again, way better than I was giving it credit for initially. It definitely is quite the striking figure here in person. So let's jump to a closer look at it right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of our Stegosaurus, you can see that the skin texture definitely looks very nice on this guy. Look at how beautiful that skin texture looks. Well, you could if my camera would stay focused. But you can also see the nostrils sculpted out right there. I love that we have this lighter tone kind of running around the eye area and leading up toward the beak. The beak itself is very nicely sculpted, sports some nice kind of cracks and crevices, so some nice realistic detail, and also an alternate tone of color with a nice light brown. And again, look at how beautiful those eyes look. They are shining so nicely. They're perfectly glossed and just make the entire thing look very realistic, very alive. So I'm a big fan of that. And again, you can see from up above, the head sculpt looks great. The detailing looks great. And when you look at it head on, it doesn't look near as off-putting as I initially thought it did. It definitely looks quite nice overall. As you begin to move into the neck region, you can again see some more nice looking skin texture. And again, my camera loses focus. It really doesn't like this figure, apparently. You begin to see some of the plates picking up there on the back of the neck. You have areas of articulation as you move through the face, of course, one of which would be the jaw, which I feel like is going to be a little tricky to get open. Wow, is it ever? There we go. So we got the mouth open now. You can see we have a nicely sculpted tongue in there. You have those kind of skin flaps there of the side of the mouth. Nothing really going on the upper side. No paintwork or anything on the inside of the mouth on the upper side, but you do have a nice pinkish tone there for the inside of the mouth. And boy, does he ever look like the friendliest little Stegosaurus from straight head on. I really want to just pet the guy if he were real. He really, really looks super cute. But as you move back here into the neck, you begin to get some articulation. So straight away, you've got a swivel here where you can articulate that area. It's not quite as, articulated as you normally see on Hammond Collection figures, because you can normally turn the head left and right and stuff. You can't really do that with that area. It's just a swivel. But you do also have this spot here as you reach the body. You can see you can get another nice swivel, but you can also go up and down. So you have some nice articulation, nice posability in that area as well, which is pretty cool. But as you move into the body, the skin texture starts to get that kind of rough and rugged, almost elephant-like skin texture to it that you see on the Stegosaurus in the film. And as you move down into the front leg, you again have some gorgeous skin texture moving down. Really nice looking foot sculpt. The nails are painted, which is also really cool to see. We don't have wrist articulation or anything on this one, but that's something that you don't really seem to get very often. But you do have articulation here in the leg, forward and back, which is actually really smooth. It can also come out away from the body if the dinosaur wants to try a balancing act. And you can also move the elbow forward and back as well, again, to get you some nice running poses and stuff like that. You can also see we have a yellowish tone here that begins in the throat, right in the actual lower jaw, leading into the throat, and does run along the underside of the figure almost the entire way. Really quite a vibrant yellow, and you can see that yellow run up here into the stomach region of the Stegosaurus as well, and you can see the skin texture looks absolutely phenomenal in the stomach region. We also have a little bit of girth to the stomach right there. As you lead up, you've got the plates here on the back. The plates are almost all painted. You can see all of them are painted except for those first little few right there. And they all have a nice brownish tone with a darker brown contained within, giving it some color variation, which is a huge plus. Really helps the plates to shine, and you can see that again there's like some cracks and crevices, nice fine detail within the plates as well. Moving along the stomach, you could see some skin creasing and folding and stuff right there. You also have some nice muscle definition in the rear leg here, as well as, again, some nice looking texturing to the skin, nice calf muscle, and a beautiful foot sculpt down here for the rear foot, as well as, again, the nails painted quite nicely. And you always have articulation. You've got the articulation in the hip. It does move out away from the body and back in, and you can see you have the knee articulation, which works really nicely, and of course can swivel, and then ankle articulation, so a little bit less as far as the rear leg goes, because normally we get like bipedal animals that have two areas of articulation, but this one only has one in the ankle. You really couldn't do anything else with it as far as that goes. But then as you lead up into the tail, you have that exceptionally short tail that you do see on the Stegosaurus. You again have the plates painted here as you move out into the tail, and you've got the ability to kind of swivel the tail and turn it, and also again go up, down, as well as a little left and right action going forward. And then you've got one more spot of articulation right here, which can as well go up and down and swivel. So, a little extra bit of articulation as you move out. And you have the thagomizers sculpted out here on the end of the tail, as well as painted with that similar brown we had seen on the beak. So as a whole, again, this is really quite nice, way better than I was giving it credit for, and definitely a very cool addition to the Hammond Collection. Super cool to see a younger version of a herbivore now in the Hammond Collection line. I am just so in love with this Hammond Collection. I can't wait to see what else they're going to produce, because again, this last wave of Hammond Collection figures have absolutely been some of the best they've given us yet. As far as a size goes, for a length on the Stegosaurus, you're looking at around a little over 5.5 inches or 14 centimeters, maybe approaching 14.5, but not quite there. And then for a height, the highest point would be the plates there on the back, about 3.25 inches or a little over 8 centimeters, approaching 8.5. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line next to our Hammond Collection baby Stegosaurus. And you can see, again, it's right there in that kind of like Attack Pack size range. One thing that is definitely a bummer for me, at least, is I really wanted to bring in the other baby Stegosaurus that Mattel had released in that super cool Legacy set with the adult Stegosaurus and Sarah Harding, but I apparently put it back in the packaging because I love the packaging so much, and then moved it to storage and didn't realize it until like 2 seconds ago when I went to grab it off of my shelf, and then I couldn't find it. So that's definitely a bummer. I can't compare it with that one, but I will, of course, compare it with, a Mattel Stegosaurus regardless, because they are all pretty much the same size. But you can see, basically, it's right there in the kind of Attack Pack, Wild Pack, Danger Pack size range. So there is a comparison next to a larger adult-style version of a Stegosaurus from Mattel, and you can see again what the size range is roughly between the two. They look super cool next to each other, they really do. Even if this isn't one of the Lost World Jurassic Park versions of the Stegosaurus, they still look super, super cool together. We've also got the Lost World Jurassic Park version of the Stegosaurus here, again stepping in for a comparison. The Kenner version from, again, the Lost World Jurassic Park toy line next to our Mattel Hammond Collection Stegosaurus, just to continue to give you an idea of the size. Then here are the two newest, smaller size ranged Hammond Collection figures, as we have the young Rex here that I just recently reviewed next to the Stegosaurus as well, again for another very, very cool comparison. And then we have even more Lost World Jurassic Park, as we have the Pachycephalosaurus in for a comparison next to our baby Stegosaurus, again showing you that the Stegosaurus has an okay size to it, not too bad, not huge, I would say probably still a little bit smaller than our Pachycephalosaurus, but a decent size to it. We've also got a Hammond Collection Velociraptor here in for a comparison next to the Stegosaurus, again, to help give you an idea of the size, as well as the Dilophosaurus, again, stepping in for yet another comparison to further give you an idea of the fact that this Stegosaurus is a bit on the smaller side. Then we have a medium-sized ranged Hammond Collection figure here with the Ceratosaurus next to the Stegosaurus, but for one final comparison, as usual, we've got ourselves the Rexy from the Hammond Collection, again stepping in to show you that the Rex is still the superior dinosaur when it comes to size, as I had no doubt that it would win against this baby Stegosaurus, until the Brachiosaurus releases anyway, and then this poor T-Rex is probably going to be demoted, but you can see again the Stegosaurus, as expected, is a whole heck of a lot smaller than our T-Rex. So this brand new Mattel Jurassic Park 30th Anniversary Lost World Jurassic Park Hammond Collection Baby Stegosaurus, quite the name for it, is absolutely beautiful. Like, honestly, so much better than I expected it to be. Initially, you know, the images that they had shown and the kind of lack of, like, cheeks and stuff was kind of bothering me, but seeing the figure here in person, I think it's actually a lot closer to what it looks like in the film than we had actually given it credit for, and I think it looks really nice. Again, the sculpt is beautifully done when it comes to the fine detail. Very nice skin texture throughout, lots of really nice kind of skin creases and wrinkles and stuff, and even though the head sculpt could definitely have been altered slightly to kind of give it a little bit more of a screen-accurate appearance with just slightly larger cheeks, I still think it looks really good and very close to what it looks like in the film. And, of course, the addition of the very small tail is also very close to what it looks like in the film. But, again, as a whole, I think the actual screen accuracy is pretty well done on this. Even if it's not perfect, it's very close. And on top of that, we have some really nice paintwork for this one. I think the paintwork is great. We've got some beautiful tones of color there in the face. The eyes are absolutely awesome. Probably the best eyes I've seen on a Hammond Collection figure so far. And you've also got paintwork for the beak, paintwork for the thagomizers, paintwork for the plates, two different tones of color on the plates the entire way through. That very nice tone of green for the majority of the body, as well as painted nails, and that nice light yellow on the underside. Like, the paintwork of this thing is absolutely awesome. And on top of that, as always with the Hammond Collection, you've got some pretty fun articulation, not quite as much as you usually see on like the bipedal dinosaurs and stuff like that, but it does still have some nice articulation, definitely some posability to it, and pretty much what you would expect, I would say, for a Stegosaurus. I think Mattel crammed as much articulation into this as they probably could. So as a whole, this is definitely a sleeper hit for me. Like, I was, you know, excited about it, but not near as excited as I was for a lot of the others. But having it here in hand, it's definitely, again, as I said, way better than I gave it credit for in the first initial thoughts of the promotional images. Definitely a really, really cool figure. So if you are interested in picking this up, I will include a link in the description to where you can do that, exactly where I purchased mine on Big Bad Toy Store. So make sure you check that link, go grab yourself this really cool baby Stegosaurus, and also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.